As somebody who loves aviation and space, when I look out the window of, this Boeing 727 that I'm in, and everybody else is watching their TVs, and you're looking at something out the window from 30,000 feet that, like, 99.99% of human history, like, you couldn't see. And if they saw it, it would be like a godlike experience to be on an aircraft. It's an exciting time. We're seeing this radical shift in transportation.
The future is not always clear when the technology first arrives.
I see a future where the machines that people move around in are available to far more people than they are today.
I think it's really important to think of the future on how we do mobility and maintain that face-to-face interaction.
You want the technologies that we're creating to be tools that help people.
I'm the most optimistic that I've ever been in my whole life based upon my experience with a car.
This is the time when we can go down in history. These guys are going to be pioneers.
Changes to our mobility are coming, but does this mean we have to give up the things we love in order to get wherever we want to go?
This is the golden age of automobiles as far as I'm concerned, because what's happening is that you can go buy a car that has zero emissions, or you can go out and you can still build, a combustion engine like this. At the end of the day, this is a ridiculous looking car. I mean, is it cool? Yeah. Is it fun? Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's ridiculous.
Because we're in this sort of once-in-a-lifetime transition from gas to electric, I'm suddenly becoming interested in cars again. Now the car is, it's part of the energy grid. It's part of the home.
I think now with how we're so connected, that's taking the load off the automobile a bit.
That means they'll be using a multimodal mix of things. They'll be using cars, and they'll be using their feet, and they'll be using bikes and public transit, and they'll be moving in a much more fluid way among those modes.
It's a ton of little amazing solutions, but the most important part is that you need to be able to efficiently choose the one that fits the task at hand.
In my future world, this is about combinations of different things and managing the transitions, right? And it's the whole journey that is seamless and experiential.
One very interesting concept would be vehicles that are shared.
You don't want the insuring part, the maintaining part, the storing part, all these things that aren't about getting from A to B, and we don't really want those things.
It's not to say that these kinds of cars will go away, because we all like to travel with our family and do things together with other people. This is not about taking things away from people, it's about enabling a whole new level of freedom.
Transportation is very comfortable now, and people like that. They want to travel in the open road and all right, cruise, okay? But then on the other hand, reality is slowly sinking in.
We have evolved from a certain way of thinking and have only just clued in over the last 20, 30 years that maybe there aren't enough resources and we really need to rethink. Looking at carbon, we have to go from, we're around 22 tons a year per person, we have to go to 1 or 2.
But that has to do with a change of culture. It takes some doing, and there has to be some real constraint there for people to change their habit.
If another transportation technology once again kindles a love affair, it's because it will let us do something that we can't do today. Maybe it'll become more robotic and autonomous and liberate us by freeing us of the need to drive things.
Taking that communications revolution and now saying transportation revolution, it'll be a magnitude of 4 or 5 over the communications revolution.
Now, a lot of people say that's going to be a big thing to pull off, and I agree, it's a huge undertaking.
And I think we are now at a time where the consumers, the audience out there is so mature that a lot of the things can be influenced back by the power of the population.
Society is the ultimate machine. So anything that happens is a total global cooperative effort.
And if the bean counters and the politicians and the environmentalists can take a little bit from the enthusiasts, that's really all we want.
Right now, we're all deciding the future of human mobility. And all we have to do to take part is to tell the world what we want.
My dream transportation is one in which I'm not having to pay any attention at all, and I can be online all the time.
I really want something lightweight. Maybe even like you can imagine like a little bubble car.
I need a tach, I need a speedometer, and give me a fuel gauge. I'll get where I need to go.
My dream would be cars that are completely adaptive, right? That breathe with me. If I need a function, I can have it on demand.
Taking the car through magnetic suspension, it'll drive onto this and it'll move itself.
It's got to have a rocket in it. As long as it has a rocket in it, I'm good with it.
If I could have anything, I think teleportation is probably the most efficient and the most fantastic thing that any of us could ever want.
How individual mobility ties into mass mobility and all of these aspects. It's very much about creating options.
You need a monowheel, gyroscopically balanced. You climb on this thing and you can go across town or wherever you want to go.
When you get it right, when you really put something together that people like a lot, the world can change pretty fast.
It offers hope that we can take a better road than what we've been driving.